Prime Minister Mark Carney has just landed in Malaysia to attend the ASEAN Summit 2025, and the world is watching. Despite being at the same ASEAN Summit as Donald Trump, Carney made no move to meet him. No handshake, no photo, nothing. This is a clear signal that Canada's foreign policy has pivoted away from dependence on the US and toward diversification, opportunity, and a better future.
Thankful, appreciated meaning of friendship and defense of justice and freedom. But on our trade and investments, other than of course Petronas, who are doing extremely well, thank you again. They're very happy. We hear last week's report. Things doing extremely well.
What made this moment even louder wasn't what Carney said. It was what he didn't do. Despite being at the same ASEAN gathering as US President Donald Trump, Carney made no move to seek him out. No rushed bilateral meeting, no symbolic handshake for the cameras. In the old playbook, this would have been unthinkable. Canadian prime ministers traditionally bent their schedules around US presidents. Carney didn't. The message was unmistakable. Canada is no longer operating as a junior partner waiting for Washington's nod. Even more striking was the signal behind it. By skipping a Trump meeting entirely, Carney quietly reinforced a growing shift inside Ottawa. Canada is preparing for a future where it relies less on US aid, pressure, and political shelter. From defense coordination to energy exports and trade financing, Canada is actively building redundancy into its global relationships. This Asia pivot isn't just about selling more goods. It's about ensuring Canada can stand on its own feet if US politics turn inward again.
So I think look forward to this collaboration. We have discussed this even at the cabinet, and I think we have given the decision to give priority to our relations with Canada. Thank you.
And with that message sent clearly to Washington and the world, Carney turned his full attention back to what mattered most on this trip, reshaping Canada's economic destiny beyond the US orbit. His goal is bold: to double Canada's exports outside the United States over the next decade, generating roughly $300 billion more in trade for Canadian workers and businesses. That's not a small aspiration. It's a historic shift in which the world is tilting heads toward Canada at a shockingly rapid speed. At the heart of Carney's visit to Kuala Lumpur, his first official trip to the Indo-Pacific as Prime Minister, is the idea of trade diversification. For decades, roughly 3/4 of Canada's exports have gone to the United States, leaving the economy vulnerable to one partner's tariffs, policies, and political moves. In Malaysia, Canada is not just attending talks, it's driving them. Negotiations toward a Canada-ASEAN free trade agreement are being accelerated to finalize the deal by 2026.
Can I say, after we spoke for the first time a few months ago, I had the occasion to be in contact with Prime Minister Martin, who reiterated his esteem for you and for everything you've accomplished for this country. I share that esteem, as do Canadians, and we're fortunate to have the partnership, and a partnership that we should be growing, and I think our mutual intent is to grow it significantly.
That agreement alone is projected to add more than $1.5 billion to Canada's economy by opening access to nearly 700 million Southeast Asian consumers. This region, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, isn't just large, it's booming.
In education, all aspects of energy, we have much to discuss there, in aerospace and beyond.
Almost 700 million people and an economy worth more than $5 trillion put ASEAN among the world's most important economic blocs. Yet right now, ASEAN accounts for only about 10% of Canada's exports, a gap Carney intends to close fast.
I would also like to take this opportunity to salute your commitments to peace, the agreement on the border dispute between Cambodia and Thailand is significant. Your commitment to multilateralism, the enlargement of ASEAN, and of course our inclusion there, your commitment to sustainability and inclusivity. These are values that we recognize as Canada, and we look forward to deepening the partnership.
And Malaysia isn't just a stop on the tour, it's a hub of investment interest. Carney and Malaysian leaders signed a letter of intent to deepen investment cooperation in liquefied natural gas, LNG, oil, nuclear, and renewable energy sectors where Canada has global expertise. These kinds of partnerships signal how Canada plans to export its skills, not just its resources. And this pivot comes at a time when global supply chains are reordering and nations are seeking redundancy and resilience in trade, not single-partner dependence. In that sense, ASEAN is the gateway to a diversified future. But let's talk now about the most striking detail, and one the world pundits are buzzing about. What didn't happen on this trip? There was no scheduled meeting between Prime Minister Carney and US President Donald Trump. No news conference, no handshake photo op. For decades, such a meeting would have been the centerpiece of any major diplomatic outing. But not this time. That absence is by design. Carney has been clear that Canada is changing its approach to Washington. Earlier in 2025, Carney indicated he was in no hurry to engage directly with Trump, saying discussions would happen when it makes sense, signaling a more independent Canadian foreign policy. Canada is expressing that it will engage with the US where interests align, but it no longer wants a policy dictated by Washington's shifting priorities. Carney's Asia pivot isn't just about economics, it's about identity. For too long, Canada's global role has been perceived as a second-tier partner to the US. Carney's message, repeated across Malaysia, Singapore, and other stops on his tour, is potent and straightforward. Canada can be a bridge between East and West, a partner trusted for its values, stability, and innovation. The message is clear on several fronts. First, trade diversification. By pushing into new export markets, Canada becomes less dependent on the US and less exposed to sudden trade shocks. Carney has set an ambitious target to double non-US exports over the next decade, a move that could bring in billions of dollars and support thousands of new jobs. Second, energy leadership. Stronger investment ties in energy, especially LNG, place Canada as a dependent supplier at a time when global energy security matters more than ever. Recent deals with Malaysian partners highlight how Canada is using its strengths to meet that demand. Third, high-value exports. Agreements in areas like aerospace, cybersecurity, and clean technology show that Canada is no longer just shipping raw materials abroad, it's exporting knowledge, innovation, and skilled expertise. Then there's alliance building. New trade talks with ASEAN countries, Ecuador, and the European Union are about building long-term partnerships, not one-off transactions. These relationships spread risk and create shared growth. This approach is also about security and stability. Canada is deepening economic and defense ties across the Indo-Pacific, including a new security partnership with South Korea that expands cooperation in cyber, space, and other emerging threats. Not long ago, Canada's heavy reliance on the US market left it exposed to policy changes and tariff battles. That dependence is now being reduced. Carney's ASEAN push sends a clear signal. Canada wants a stronger economy built on multiple global partnerships, not just one. For Canadian workers, this opens doors in agriculture, energy, technology, and aerospace. For younger professionals, it creates career paths that reach far beyond North America. And globally, it presents Canada as a country that is confident, flexible, and ready to take a leading role. As Carney himself has pointed out, the region offers massive potential, with trillion-dollar markets, hundreds of millions of consumers, and opportunities across almost every major industry. And while trade expansion won't happen overnight, the groundwork laid in Kuala Lumpur will echo for years. This trip isn't just another diplomatic stop, it's a symbolic turning point. No US meeting on the side, no last-minute pivot back to old patterns. Instead, a clear, consistent message. Canada is charting its own course. In an era of global uncertainty, with shifting alliances, economic disruptions, and rising geopolitical competition, Canada's Asia pivot under Carney may come to define how it navigates the 21st century. For the entire world watching, one thing is clear. Canada has left its old dependence behind. and is stepping into a new role, not as a follower, but as a global partner with its own voice, its own strategy, and its own promising future in the rapidly developing economic infrastructure.